and welcome to episode 113 of Super Deformed Gamescast, also known as SDGC. That's how we prefer to be called, or to be known anyway. Everybody, welcome. As always, I'm one of your hosts, John, aka at Mr. Megadev on Twitter. And tonight with me, I have Zach down in the corner. What's up, my man?
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
And we got Jay over in the other corner. Jay, it is always good to have you here, up in the upper right.
What's good, Soccerinos?
And Brandon down at the bottom. Brandon, I haven't seen you on camera in a long time. What's the deal, man? You having a bad hair day?
I don't like using a camera anymore.
I miss that handsome face, man. And right there in the middle, this worked out great. You're in the middle. This is kind of this is like the guest spot right here. We have Tanya DePass from I Need Diverse Games and the Spawn on Me podcast. Tanya, I've wanted to have you on here for quite some time, and it's awesome to finally have you on. So thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, you're so welcome. It's awesome to get the request to be on, and we chat a lot on Twitter, so it's cool to be here.
We do. So for anybody watching who may not know about Tanya or what she's involved in, Tanya, you want to go ahead and plug I Need Diverse Games and Spawn on Me, and take as much time as you need, build yourself up as much as you want. I want to hear it.
Oh my god. The hardest part about being on a show is talking about yourself. So, for those who don't know, I Need Diverse Games came out with a hashtag almost 4 years ago now. And from me being mad on the internet about games, it is now a nonprofit where we send people GDC. I go to panels, I go to PAX, I do a lot of different things, do diversity consulting. And last year, it's been almost a year, I think, I joined Spawn on Me, a podcast that is every Thursday night, 9:30 Central, 7:30 Pacific, with Khalifa Adams, Cicero Holmes, and Sharif Jackson, where we talk about games and talk about a lot of things from our perspective as people of color. And the other thing to plug really is I've edited an anthology about marginalized folks in the industry, and that'll be out next month. And my pinned tweet has all the info, but you can pre-order Game Devs and Others Tales from the Margins from Amazon and directly from the publisher CRC Press.
Oh, that is outstanding. And I want to point out that you guys have on Spawn on Me have had some serious exposure over the past, I'd say, 6 months to a year. Khalif was just on Kind of Funny Games with Greg Miller, and I think it was Tim Geddes was the episode he was on with. And he's also been on What's Good Games, actually, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
Yeah, he was actually. That's right. He was the first man on the podcast. He was the first.
Wow.
He was the first. If memory serves me correctly, and somebody can point it out. Somebody can point out if I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. Khalif was the first man on What's Good Games. I think I'm right about that. I'm probably wrong, but I think I'm right. Anyway, Tanya, it is awesome to have you on tonight, and we will see we will see if you still think it's awesome to be with us by the end of the podcast. I'm sure we'll. And Tanya, by the way, I didn't mention this before we started, but this is a rated R podcast, so if you want to swear, feel free to swear. We swear here all the fucking time. It's fine. There's no kids watching, and we're also very rude to each other. So jump in, interrupt people, especially Zach. Feel free to interrupt him. I'm just kidding, buddy. But anyway,
I can fucking swear.
Fuck yes, you can swear, and you could also drink too. Most of us are drinking, so if you have a drink, feel free.
I don't have a drink yet. I need to make it.
Not yet. Yeah. There's actually the SDGC challenge for our guest, where if you can make it through 15 minutes with us without drinking, we'll do something nice for you. I don't know what it's going to be, but we'll give you something. But we'll go ahead and kick it off with what everybody's been playing this week. And since Tanya is our guest of honor, why don't we start with her?
Well, I actually just got done playing a little Banner Saga on the Switch, so shout out to Versus Evil Banner Saga for that code. I played it before on console and PC, but not on Switch. I don't know when the other ones are coming. But it was pretty cool to play it on a mobile platform, but then still be able to stream it. This is more my own lack of dexterity, is playing with the Joy-Cons was a little difficult because I don't have a Pro Controller for the Switch. And, yeah.
Oh, you need that Pro Controller. It's so good.
I do, but, me and the non-profit part of non-profit life is so if any nice person out there would like to get me a Pro Controller, I will not turn it down. Or, once I'm done traveling for the summer, I will grab one. But that was really awesome. Finished God of War story mode, the story part of it. Decided to hunt Valkyries. That was a stupid fucking decision.
Oh, the Valkyries.
Yeah, yeah. It was interesting. It was one Valkyrie was about an hour or so fight, and I have no shame in saying I went back, I got my rage up, came back, and still fought her. Let's see what else. I feel like I've been playing a lot of random stuff. I actually jumped back into Street Fighter V with some buddies because I hadn't played it in a while.
No shit. Now there's a game I haven't heard about in a while.
Yeah, if anyone tells you they're a casual Vega, they're a liar. Played with a friend, he got his buddy in, his buddy mains Vega. That Vega whooped me like I owed him money.
I am so bad at fighting games. I want to be good at them. I love Mortal Kombat. I really enjoyed Injustice. I like Street Fighter, but
I just accepted long ago that I would never be good at it.
yeah,
I'm good at a lot of genres, but yeah.
Fighting games are not one of those for me, man.
Fighting games, no.
Oh.
No.
Yeah, I've only ever been good like a 3D fighter. Like I can't do the 3D fighters at all.
So
Well, I grew up with Street Fighter. I grew up with it in the arcade. So, like, for me, it's also nostalgia, but it's like, because I was thinking about all the things that we were doing, and like the stuff that people were doing while we were playing are not things that would have flown in the arcade when I was a teenager. Like cornering people, some of the other stuff that we did, I'm like, this would never have worked back in the day in the arcade.
I just want to point out real quick in chat, somebody says that Shaved John looks like Shaved Mario, and I don't agree with that at all. That's
Oh my God.
I look so young now. Tanya, I gotta tell you, like, do what you can to grab that Switch Pro controller, because it is legit probably the best controller I've used this generation, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a huge Nintendo fan.
Tanya, you're not the first person. I mean, I'm the same way with the way those Switch controllers and the Joy-Cons feel. Like it just is not. I don't know. It just doesn't feel good for extended periods. I don't know how much you got to play with Banner Saga. One of my peeves with a lot of Switch ports is that text is really small in portable mode. Did you get a chance to kind of check that out with Banner Saga?
A little bit, because I had to put it in the dock to stream.
Yeah.
So I had the Joy-Cons actually disconnected. There's no way to stream it and hold it in hand.
Yeah.
It was weird. I played about an hour and a half, and my biggest issue was navigating the map. Kind of figuring out like how to use the thumbstick to kind of hover where I need to go and then press A.
Well, it doesn't help that it's so small. Like the buttons are small, the thumbsticks are small. I mean, it's all tiny.
I got little hands, but even then, I'm still like, you still feel like I'm going to break them if I hold them too hard.
Sure.
But yeah, it feels like I've been doing so much. Oh, I jumped into BattleTech. That was the other thing.
Oh, you're speaking Zach's language now.
Hell yeah, that game's great.
Yeah, I love it. Full disclosure, I know some of the devs, but I'm an old Mech Warrior fan, and it was great.
Hell yeah.
Into it, but oh my God, those first missions were so stressful.
Yep.
Oh my God, I really like. I'm gonna sound like a console fanboy, but I really need this to come to console. I don't care which one. My PC can hardly run Solitaire, so I need this to come to console.
Like we cannot run PUBG, which is
and my toaster can run PUBG and my computer can't. So yeah, no, it's pretty bad, Tanya. It's really bad. Actually, it's interesting that you mentioned the Banner Saga. I'm a huge fan of Norse mythology, and it's one of those games I've never played. I've always wanted to get around to it, especially since not only do I love Norse mythology, but I also love strategy games, like real-time strategy games, and the artwork just looks so incredible on. Hey, we got a follow. Thank you. The artwork just looks so incredible on the Switch. I got to ask you, does it? You know what it runs at? Does it run at 60 frames a second or 30 on the Switch?
It might be 30, but
Okay.
I think I was streaming. I know I was streaming at a pretty high bitrate at 1080, 16:9 frame size. It may have been 30 because I think by default when I'm using XSplit I've got it set to 30. I didn't try to run it at 60.
Okay.
I don't want to speak for Tanya, but like Banner Saga, like I'm usually with you. 30 feels a little sluggish, but with Banner Saga, I don't think 30's that big.
Probably not. No, and it's on the Switch, and I can take it anywhere. You guys know how I feel about my Switch port begging. So,
How you feel about it.
but anyway, Tanya, is there anything else you wanted to mention before we move on?
this may surprise people because like I've never been like a big fangirl of God of War, but honestly, this new game is probably my game of the year right now.
It's up there for me too.
Awesome.
Yep.
Kratos, I felt for him because I feel like whatever life is going on for the devs is now reflected in Kratos kind of growing up and having a kid. But I felt bad for him in certain perks of the game because I don't know what your spoiler policy is. But there are things that happen in the game where I'm like, I would have pitched this child off a cliff.
Yeah, a couple times.
But also it's just like, poor Kratos. Like he's lost his wife. He's suffering too, and his kid's being a brat. So like fucking Atreus, man.
Well, there's that's why I relate to his character so much now, and kind of the journey he's taken. When I was first introduced to God of War, I was a Lance Corporal in the Marine Corps, and I was young. I was like 22 years old, and so I was and that game actually came out when I was in Iraq. So when I came home and played it, I had plenty of anger built up, and I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna kill some shit. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. And now that I'm older, I've got a 10-year-old, and I don't really think that way anymore. And so his journey to kind of grow as a man and impart those values on his son, to teach him to, hey, don't be like me, don't make the same mistakes I did. That's something I can really relate to, that's probably up there for my game of the generation, not just my game of the year. Like, it's definitely in the conversation for me.
Yeah, but the first couple of games were, like, I'm glad they got away from the quick time to bang somebody.
Yes, that was so. And I was telling Zach never played God of War 3 or any of the originals, and that was yeah, you know what I'm talking about. That one, yeah. Even I was like, whoa, like, hey, this is
like, okay, so we're
yeah.
Just gonna go somewhere else.
That was like, it's one of those moments where like I'm playing it and I'm doing it because I want to make it through the game, but I'm like, because I wasn't married at the time, I was dating somebody, but I was like, she ain't gonna walk in here right now, is she? Like, what is?
That's your sitcom moment.
Yeah, precisely. But we'll no, I agree with you on God of War. I'll talk real quick about what I've been playing. I usually go last, but not tonight. Real quick, I picked up Battle Chasers Night War on the Switch because I'm a huge RPG guy. I've been waffling on this one for a while, and I decided to wait for the Switch version because, again, you guys know me. And I played it for about an hour and a half tonight. A beautiful game. It's based on a comic book by Joe Madura. That's it's not around anymore, but he did all the artwork, and it's pretty good so far. I mean, it's standard JRPG fare. I mean, you've got your warrior who's named after a military blockade. His name is Garrison. You've got your old crusty wizard. There's even a dwarf with a Scottish accent named Grimbeard. Like it ticks every RPG trope box you could possibly imagine. Yeah, but it's my bullshit, so it's good. Like it's probably not going to be my game of the year or even my RPG of the year, but it's good for what it is. It's great. But Hyrule Warriors comes out on Switch tomorrow, and that's going to be my weekend. What else? I've been playing a little bit.
Combat system.
Go ahead.
I hear the battle system in Battle Chasers is like really good.
It's actually fantastic. It's
yeah.
But here's the problem with that, right? Like when you transition into that battle, like it's beautiful, like visually, and it's just really nice to look at. The character animations are incredible. It's really fun. But then when you transition back to the world map, like the world map is just kind of like it's like a isometric view, and it's not very detailed. And it's that tonal shift between the incredibly animated, well detailed, smooth running combat, and then kind of the hiccupy bland world map. It's kind of jarring. But yeah, the combat system is fantastic. Other than that, I've been playing. I finished my Funky Kong run through in Donkey Kong Country. That's two playthroughs. What a fucking fantastic game. And I've been playing a little Destiny, and that's it. Oh, Brandon, you were right. You and Jeff were both right. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is one of the best platformers of all time. I can say that hands down. Fucking fantastic game. And
I think Jungle Beat's better. But
no, but you don't even like Mario. You're weird. You're so.
Jungle Beat is a game.
It is. It is that we can confirm that Jungle Beat is actually a video game. We'll go ahead and smirking Zach down there in the corner. Once you so real quick, Zach's review of State of Decay 2 went live this morning, and you have been getting some feedback on that review, Zach.
Yeah, sure. So State of Decay 2 is our first written review published on Medium, which is kind of the return of our website form, which is great. People can check that out. We've been plugging it a lot on Twitter today. But yeah, State of Decay 2 is something I've been playing for a little over a week. I've had to be a little bit tight-lipped about it. But yeah, I really like State of Decay 2. It's a buggy game. Like I think you'll see from a lot of reviews out there. It's a little bit janky.
That seems to be the takeaway from the
Yeah.
reviews.
Yeah, but
Pretty
I
damn buggy.
really fucking like it. At the same time, right? Like it's definitely. I talked about this a little bit with you guys more privately. This game reminds me of Mad Max and to a greater extent Mafia 3 in that some of the mission stuff and the bugginess is kind of a takeaway from like the bigger things at play that make the game more engaging and more interesting. It doesn't have the strong narrative that Mafia 3 did, but there are some really cool character moments. All of the characters are procedurally generated, and so like you might find a character model that looks similar to somebody else in a different gameplay because there's limited numbers in that regard, but like all of their stats and all of their predispositions to different things, like there will be characters who have like a snoring problem and they'll lower morale in your community, and so you can
a little
decide
bit of like Darkest Dungeon almost.
yeah, it's a little bit like that. But like there are things you can do to offset all these problems in your community, right? Like so somebody snores, but if you get electricity, you can install white noise makers, and it will boost the morale to cover for the person who's snoring. And so like there's all these like really cool systems at play.
That's interesting.
And like there's different characters that talk to each other and tell these different anecdotes that kind of add a layer of narrative. People say they can't hear me.
Yeah, well, no. Like people can hear you, but apparently they can't hear you very well, which is weird because we can hear you just fine,
Yeah, I can hear. Okay.
and they can hear the rest of us
I
just
turned
fine
up my
too.
mic a little bit. I'm very sorry. It'll take a minute for people to.
Yeah, get in there real close, Zach. Get in there real close. Make it nice and intimate. Yeah, there you go. Bring it in.
Sit here for 30 seconds while they tell me they can hear me.
Bring it in. Bring it in, buddy.
Yeah, I'll bring it in very close.
Oh man.
That's close enough.
Do you guys want to see these pores?
We do actually. Yeah. No. Do you exfoliate? I can tell.
Thank you. But yeah, no. If chat can get back to us soon, that'd be great. But no. State of Decay 2 is a fucking good video game. I mean, it's rough.
It'll get better when it gets patched, right? It'll be real good.
Hopefully, it's a buggy game, but like for $10 on Game Pass, I really can't tell people to stay away from it. I like State of Decay 2 a lot. My review kind of touches on some things there. I don't deep dive features, but I touch on some of the things that I think are important, like ludonarrative dissonance with some of the violence, a lot of really cool procedurally generated characters and how they interact. There's some stuff I wish I could have done a little bit deeper reads on, but maybe in the future I can kind of get into that. People are saying it's still not working, so let's just go on to other people.
Okay, Zach. Real quick, Zach. Why don't you try? You want to try maybe unplugging your mic and plugging it back in, or dropping and then coming back in? See if that fixes it.
Sure.
Well, yeah. Why don't you try that? You should be able to just hop right back in. We'll move over to Brandon, and then we'll finish up with Jay, and we'll hop into our first topic. Brandon, so I gotta ask, have you been playing anything other than Overwatch?
Nope. Well,
Okay.
so
Whoa! Hey, okay, go. What was that?
I haven't played any. No, just OSU and Overwatch.
Okay, yeah, Tanya, that's kind of a running thing with Brandon now, is that for the past year, he's got nothing to talk about, but 2 years.
The second anniversary of Overwatch is actually next week.
Yeah, and he has had nothing to talk about but Overwatch for the past 2 years. So that's
2 years straight.
that's kind of Brandon's thing. Well, actually,
I mean, that happens to me with Blizzard games, because I was the same way for like 3 years when StarCraft 2 came out. I just
Oh, wow.
play almost anything. And
Yeah.
then, I kind of got bored of StarCraft 2, and so I was playing more like single player games for a couple of years.
it was a relief when you.
Overwatch came out, and I'm right back in it.
I miss those days when we could talk Final Fantasy 15 together because you actually played something other than Overwatch. It was nice to talk to you about it. All right, well, we'll go ahead and we'll move on to Jay. Jay, what have you been playing this week?
All right. So I'm reading the chat right now, and Mindy says that she can't really hear anyone besides John. So
Okay,
so
So it's on your end. Way to go, John.
It's not on my end.
has to be.
Well, we did mess. You did mess with the OBS beforehand.
Well, hold on.
So
I just turned the OBS up a little bit. I mean, it was already. I mean, it was normal, but I cranked it up a
We
little
all
bit.
sound
So
good to each other.
yeah.
Yeah, we all sound fine.
Yeah,
Wow.
I cranked
I
up
guess-
the OBS volume, so hopefully that'll help. Oh, okay, she says the
maybe
volume just shut.
the volume just shut
Okay.
There we
off,
go.
so
All
we're
right.
good.
Okay,
all right.
cool. Sorry about that, everybody.
So yeah, I guess I'll talk about what I've been playing, which is not a lot because I've been really busy this week. So yeah, I downloaded Laser Lead, which John refuses to play on Xbox, even though he has Game Pass.
My trophies,
he wants
baby,
the
my
trophies.
trophies.
John, I like to point out a couple months ago, you're like, I love the Switch. I love how the Switch does not have trophies or achievements. Like, I can enjoy playing the game.
Okay, you know what? Some habits are hard to break. Okay, motherfucker. I'm just saying.
Okay, I
I'm
played
also a
one.
trophy
Okay. So I played one match of. I played like one match of Laser Lead. I enjoyed it, though we got to intermission and we were stuck there for like 20 minutes, so I quit. So I couldn't actually finish the game. So, yeah. Besides that, it was fun, and I have been playing a lot of Super Mega Baseball 2, which was a full game.
So
this month.
real quick, Jay, I want you to tell everybody the actual name of one of your players. And Jay did not
Okay.
type this name.
I'm about to go into this because this is great. So I'm playing season mode, and I chose this team called the Overdogs, and one of the bench players, his name is Dick Burger, and his hitting stats, his power is maxed out, but he has no contact whatsoever.
That is the
Fuck you guys. This sucks.
that is the worst. Wow, Jay. Like, and Jay,
No, like here's the thing though, like I don't start him at all, like he's a bench warmer, but like when I need like someone to like come like hit for the pitcher, I've brought him in and he's hit a home run for me like every single time.
you just
So if you
really
think about, he's more like the messiah of my team.
that is that is probably the worst name algorithm result I've ever heard in my life.
Wait. Okay, I was under the impression that you named this character. and I was upset with you.
that was random.
No, like this was like in the game. I
No,
have not
the
edited,
game.
like,
No,
I have
the
not
game
edited any
named
of the
him.
names yet or
That's the whole
anything.
point. Is the game actually named him that?
Okay, that's a little bit more funny. Okay, fine.
Yeah, no, like I did not name him that. I would
Jesus,
like
Jay
to
is a bit-
clarify that to the delegation.
He's not
that
a
I did not
Jay.
name him Dick
Jay is
Burger.
Jay is
Alright.
not a child. Jesus.
Okay.
But I was playing it. I was playing a match. I think it was like 2 days ago, and I had all my bases loaded, and I need someone to hit for the pitcher. So I brought in Dick Burger, and the first hit, I shit you not, he hits like a 515 foot home run, and it's a grand slam because all the bases are loaded. Like
Clutch.
this dude is like my good luck charm. So like, thank you, Dick Burger. for
I
making
could
Super
not.
Mega Baseball
I
2
could not
fun
take
for
this.
me.
I could not take this game seriously. I couldn't. I'm sorry.
Dude,
That would kill it for
okay,
me.
okay. So like, I still prefer the show. Like everyone here knows, like I'm probably the big sports games fan on the show.
Yes, you are.
Like, I still
by a
prefer the
long
show.
shot.
Like, yeah, like the career mode in the show is like great and whatnot. But I think Super Mega Baseball, especially if you have Xbox Live Gold, is a great alternative because it's like the only good baseball option on the Xbox besides RBI Baseball, which is not good from what I hear. So yeah, if you have gold and you like arcade style sports games, I highly recommend downloading Super Mega Baseball 2.
Yeah,
So-
I'm gonna pass. I'm not a sports guy. Well, I mean, I'm a sports guy, but I'm not a sports game guy. So I
John,
care less.
like I can't wait till next week, and you're like, ooh, like I'm thinking about picking Super Mega Baseball 2, and we're like,
No.
well, you have gold, and you're like, well, I care about the trophies.
It's not gonna happen, my man. It is not gonna happen. I can promise you that. All right, we'll go ahead and drop into our first topic here, which is Boss Key Games closing this week. So, and this was very sad. I was very sad to hear this, and it kind of came out of nowhere. Although I think the writing was probably on the wall for this one.
I mean, it's been something you've been waiting to hear for what, eight months or
quite
so.
yeah.
Lawbreakers came out last summer.
So I remember. So we were at PAX last year, and Lawbreakers. Tanya, were you at PAX last year? PAX East.
Yep.
Okay. Do you remember that huge kiosk that Lawbreakers had right in the middle of the
Yep.
floor? It was this huge space right in the middle of the floor. And I found out that it was Cliffy B's game. Epic was, or not Epic, but Boss. His whole Boss Key Games thing. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be great. Like this is gonna be huge. There's gonna be a huge push for it. And it died harder than I think almost any multiplayer game I have come across this generation.
Something has
And-
to be alive before it can die.
Yeah, that game died before it lived, man, and which is unfortunate because according to the people who have played it that I've talked to, it was actually a pretty good game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my friend put like 100 hours into it.
Tanya-
It was polished.
Tanya, did you play it?
Yeah.
I played a little bit during the PC beta, and I know Khalif was
Same.
really, really into it. And then, and I met people who worked at Bosky who worked on the game. And it was just like, I kind of caught wind of it well after it was out on Twitter and everywhere else. And I was just like, that really sucks. Because that other game, the game that, the umpteenth million battle royale game that came out, was their other one, but that seemed to come and go in like a week.
Radical Heights, yeah, like a month.
Yeah.
Like maybe a month it lasted. Yeah.
Not even that.
Zach, didn't you actually play Radical Heights?
I did play Radical Heights. I did. Radical Heights wasn't that bad. Radical Heights was not the shameless BR plug that I think maybe people were expecting. It had a lot of like its own game show elements that I thought made Radical Heights unique. But unfortunately, like I think other people have probably said this more succinctly, but it was a Hail Mary pass for a studio that was already bleeding, right? Like, I think that if the financial situation was a little better, they could have had 8 months to make this something that was a little bit more memorable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad. And what was even more sad is it seemed quite sudden on Twitter. It seemed like a lot of the studio was kind of maybe blindsided, and maybe that's just rumor mill, but it's always sad, A, when people lose their jobs, and 2, when they lose it suddenly.
So we've got a question in chat. Mitty wants to know, how long will Radical Heights get support? Is it still up? They said for the foreseeable future, but I don't know.
No new patches though.
Yeah,
the female characters still haven't been added, and they won't be added. They said.
Which is well, and that's the crazy thing, right? And Tanya, I don't know if you saw this tweet or not, but somebody had asked one of the developers of Radical Heights. They said, "Hey, are you going to add female characters to the game?" And the guy says, "Well, yeah, we're working on it right now. Actually, like it's funny you mentioned that. They're coming soon." And then 5 minutes later, he tweeted out, "Well, never mind." And I was like, "What happened?" And then I saw Cliffy B's tweet about closing the studio. I was like, "Oh shit!" Like which led a lot of people to ask, did he let his studio know before he tweeted it? And apparently he did. To his credit, I had been wondering about that myself, but it's interesting that Zach says that Radical Heights didn't come off as a as what you would expect it to be, because to me, again, full disclosure, having not played it, it came off as he knew that the end was coming for Bosky Games, and they tried to get this. They tried to jump on the big thing, which is Battle Royale right now, in the hopes that it would kind of save them, and it didn't. I don't know if that's the impression you guys got. And that's not an insult.
I did.
Yeah, did you, Tanya?
Yeah, because I watch people stream Radical Heights. Like a lot of the people I normally follow on Twitch streamed it, and I was like, "Where's the rest of the game?"
Yeah.
Because it just seemed like a very in-concept, almost like pre-alpha build where things weren't done, and I was like, "How am I supposed to play this?" And
I mean, it's something like what 24 people put together in a couple of months.
3 months, they said. Yeah.
3 months.
Whole thing.
3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my first exposure to it was like watching Point stream it, and like they seemed to like conceptually be there, and I think I was too. Where like the initial ad of like the '80s thing is like Cliffy B persona. It feels really abrasive and kind of grating. But then like the actual gameplay of like game show shit, like it leaned into like the kind of thematic nature of BR a little bit. But like Tanya was saying, like there were buildings that were textureless. And like it's hard to launch a game and sell people on an idea when your buildings don't have texture.
I mean, PUBG doesn't have textures
PUBG
either. So
But PUBG already sold 30 million copies by the time I tried that. But yeah.
Well, and I don't know if you guys saw or not, but soon after it closed, I think it was either the same day that night or the day after, he tweeted a bunch of ideas that he had that never made it to fruition. Mm-hmm. And some of these sounded far more interesting than anything Bosky had actually put out. I mean, if you think about it, they I think what Bosky Games did is they took a game that was drawing a lot of influence off of Overwatch, and then they made a game that was drawing a lot of influence off of Fortnite. And they took both those things and tried to make them their own. But I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I look at both those genres, like the arena shooter and the battle royale, as kind of like the World of Warcraft situation. Like for years and years and years and years, and even to this day, everything has tried to be the World of Warcraft killer. Like everybody's like, okay, well, we got our MMO here. This is it. Like we're gonna take out World of Warcraft, but there's not a whole lot of space in that, or there's not a whole lot of room in that space for more than one of those games. And I feel like Overwatch is that game for arena shooters, and Fortnite is that game for battle royale. And aside from PUBG, there's no breaking that glass ceiling, in my opinion, anyway.
There's a lot of room for, I think, Call of Duty battle royale. What was it called? Blackout.
Yeah,
Because the thing about battle royale games is you like going into, you have to understand that you're accepting a certain like lack of polish, and cause with the ambition and everything, like there's a certain amount of jank that goes with the genre naturally. I mean, PUBG was a fucking jank fest. I haven't played Fortnite VR, but I don't know, like, since it first came out, I don't know if they got the shooting mechanics like to a good place finally, but like that game didn't feel as polished. Like the gunplay didn't feel polished.
I don't know.
It's like I think for Call of Duty to come and be like, hey, we have like the best controls, the best feeling first-person shooter controls on a console. Like I feel like that's a huge draw.
Well, so I want to ask Tanya something. Like, so Tanya, do you play a lot of battle royale games like PUBG or Fortnite or?
I played a little bit of PUBG. I've never played Fortnite, and the genre unto itself isn't like, it doesn't bother me, but it falls in that realm of games where if you don't have a bunch of people to play with, it's not fun. Because I don't know what you all do, but I don't really game with randos on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
I try not to, yeah.
So if I don't have a dedicated group of people that are also playing this, then it's not going to be fun. Or is it like, well, PUBG was a hot thing for like X number of months or a year, but now Fortnite's got everyone's attention. After all this time you put into one game, if everyone jumps ship to another game, and then will that happen when the new Battle Royale Call of Duty comes out? What are we going to do then? Is everyone going to be like, well, screw Fortnite, I'm out, I'm back to Call of Duty?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, yeah, I think like people are going to be playing Blackout instead of Fortnite, especially on consoles. On PC, like Fortnite is not going to even be phased by it, but on consoles, absolutely, like I still think Call of Duty Blackout is going to take some.
I mean, this is kind of a tangent thing, but I'll try to tie it back to like the thing is. Like, look, Fortnite is here to stay because Fortnite is free, right? That is, and I like Fortnite more than a lot of people do. But Fortnite has become incredibly successful because it's managed to capture an audience that doesn't have a lot of money, teenagers and kids, and they have cosmetic items that can convince parents to spend money on it, whatever.
And you can play it at school.
You can play it at school on your phone now. And Call of Duty can kind of step on that a little bit, but I don't think I think the market can support more than 2 games that are popular. But with Cliffy B, what you were kind of saying, John, I think that it's not giving Boss Key or any developer enough credit to say they saw a studio's success and they were like, okay, we can do that. Let's. I mean, nobody sets out to make a copy and paste. I guess I shouldn't say nobody, but studios that we hear about don't set out to make a copy and paste. Everybody says, this is an interesting idea, and I think that our formula will allow us to do X, Y, and Z to make that formula more interesting.
That makes sense.
And so, like, I look, there's a lot of Unreal Tournament in Lawbreakers. A lot of us didn't get a chance to check that out. And so, like, on the surface, we're like, oh, it's a hero shooter. But it's really class-based on Unreal Tournament, right? And, again, Radical Heights did copy a lot of stuff, had a kind of cheesy setting, but, like, it was trying, and and you kind of talk about, Cliffy B pitched these ideas that were more interesting, but like he also couldn't get funding for them. Like it's not like he pitched those ideas, he just couldn't get them funded, and like that stinks. But that's also, I think, the nature of being a creative in a field where there are business people who say, nope, how are we going to make money off of a niche game about dragons that have guns attached to their backs, which is like one of the ideas he was pitching.
Yeah, that was so. Yeah, he had some really cool ideas that unfortunately didn't make. There was that. It was called Dragonflies.
Yep.
Called and you'd find basically it said you had the game would be cute and edgy at the same time. I don't really know what that means. Like kind of like
whatever the fuck.
Yeah, like How to Train Your Dragon but metal. So I don't. Okay, what? Yeah, I know, right, Tanya? It's like okay, like I can't really visualize that, but all right. But he had estimated a $40 million budget for that game. $40 million budget, so biting off a little more than you could probably chew there. And then the second pitch that was rejected was called Dog Walkers, which was not what it sounds like, and probably what I would have preferred, to be honest with you.
It sounds like a game that Tanya and I would enjoy as mech fans, right? Like,
yeah.
It kind of like so. Like, I don't know if you saw that, Tanya, but it was basically like mechs, but what if the mechs look like dogs? And like that was his angle, which is like kind of cool, but also like
What the hell? Like,
it's like it's an aesthetic, I guess, but like it's not doing like what, you know what I mean? Like yeah,
It's not enough.
yep.
Yep. I mean, I probably would have played that kind of a game, but it. And here's the thing: a lot of people don't realize that when you go to get funding, you have to appeal these people and go, "Give me all these millions of dollars and trust that I will put out a game that will at least make your money back."
yeah.
Right.
And Battle Royale is a hot thing right now. So unless you're coming in with a Battle Royale in your hand or some version of Battle Royale, you may not get the time of day from people who can give you that money.
Yep. Well, and to expand on that idea, like remember, Boss Key was an independent studio. They weren't tied to a specific publisher. $40 million for an independent studio is a lot of money.
That's asking a lot, and I get the sense that he came up with that budget with the idea, and I'm not, this is just me imagining what he might have been thinking was, hey, I'm Cliff Bleszinski, people will give me the money because I did Gears, and I don't know, I'm speculating, but
Joseph Ferris and his company for like a way out.
Too much.
What's like standard? What?
probably
I can't give names and I can't get specifics, but some of what I have been told about some of the initiatives from companies like EA is that a lot of these games, like we saw some Unravel and then again with A Way Out, is that they are built to bolster the brand, bolster EA. They're not meant to make money, right? Like, and Joseph Ferris said, like in the documents that they've signed for A Way Out, like EA wasn't getting any money. Like that was the deal.
No, I'm just saying, like, what is even reasonable to expect from a gigantic publisher if you're an independent?
Oh
studio?
yeah.
Is $40 million even close to reasonable?
no, it's
knows?
about. I mean, for an independent studio, in my opinion, it's like $30 million.
Well, an untested independent studio too, right?
Yeah. Especially, and imagine trying to pitch that to your investors or people that you need funding from after Lawbreakers.
Yeah,
It's not going to happen. And then I'll quickly mention the last pitch that he had was for Donuts, was another VR game, and it was basically I don't know if anybody here, Tanya, you ever played Tubin in the 80s? On Nintendo?
No, that one's not ringing a bell.
You didn't miss out on much. But it's basically the concept for this game was cute cartoon animals ride rubber rings through rivers and rapids with the players paddling with their hands to rotate and speed themselves along. Okay, whatever. I just imagine how frustrated that Cliffy B must be right now with his situation, and
more sympathy to his employees who actually have to go out and struggle and look for work. Cliffy B is still a rich man.
Yeah,
I don't sympathize for him. I sympathize for.
He's driving he's still driving a Lamborghini.
Yeah. Yep.
And I saw a couple tweets about this, and I've never met Cliffy B, honestly, and this may get people mad at me. I don't care. I don't think I want to, because he just strikes me as someone who's callous, and it's like, well, shut down the company. I've still got all my money. Good luck.
Yeah.
Well, good. Jay, go ahead.
Sorry, I've been getting cut off a lot.
No,
I have to agree with what Zach said. It's just like I feel more sorry for the employees than like Cliffy B in the situation. And to be honest, I also feel like Cliffy B like sharing like all these like failed pitches is just kind of him being like, "Hey, game developers, I still have it in me. Like, please hire me."
Yeah. Well, which is also frustrating because again, he as he's closing the studio, he praised his employees a little bit, but like, again, that man could never work again and he'd be set. And I say this as somebody who can't do anything about it, but it's like, you're talented developers, help them get work, man. Like, right? Like, that's what you should do. If you're in a position where you have money, you have everything, help the people who have helped you pitch your crazy idea that wasn't going to work in a 2018 market.
Like, I'll bounce off something Tanya said. Like, and I've never met the man either, clearly, and I probably never will. But knowing what I know people who have met him, and I know about his reputation, and I automatically assumed that he had not told anybody that the studio was closing before he tweeted. I just assumed that because of what I knew about him. Now, apparently that's not true. Having said that, my friend Tom over at Game Ranks sent me a picture, and he sent me a picture, and he said, "I refuse to feel sorry for this guy," and it was a picture of a younger Cliffy B with a shirt on that said "You're retarded," and I fucking hate that word because I have somebody who is mentally handicapped in my family, an immediate family member, and so when I saw that, I was like, yeah, fuck this. Yeah, okay. Like, I just, that stuff like that just rubs me really the wrong way. And so, but I do hope he's got a lot of talent at that studio, and I do hope his people who were there land on their feet. And I know that I guess there were a bunch of developers tweeting out, hey, if you were at Boss Key and you're looking for work, we're hiring right now, come get us. And that's kind of one of the things I love about this industry, is that whenever this does happen, and it happens far more often than I think we'd all like, you see all these developers jump onto Twitter and say, hey, we've got work for you, come with us. And that's one of the things
there was a hashtag going.
There is.
Well, like just one quick tangent before we move on to the next topic. Like, wasn't it like 3 weeks ago when he was like, "Hey, Epic, stop trying to poach my employees."
Yeah.
It was like
Yeah.
3 weeks ago.
So,
Oh God, I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah. So it's a pretty uncomfortable time to work
That is a
for
little
Bosky. Yeah. All right, John, are we ready to move on?
Yeah. So speaking of,
I hope all the former employees find jobs and land on their feet. The situation sucks, but you know, I feel like Twitter support's been really great about it. I mean, hell, even Avalanche was looking for employees, and like they have like 2 games in development right now.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's work.
Hell yeah.
So,
So,
speaking, no, that's fine, Jay. Speaking of battle royale games, let's talk about Call of Duty, because that's fresh in everybody's mind. It happened just a few hours ago. Tanya, I gotta ask, are you a Call of Duty fan? Because I am not.
I'm a fan of the older Call of Duties, and after reading about the reveal today, I'm just like, come on. You know, if I'm gonna go back and play Call of Duty or a game like it, do we really have to jump on the Battle Royale train and go, but look, we're different? I've often like kind of, this is maybe not well done to me, but I also get very tired of it, because I get a lot of people like, well, you don't play Call of Duty, you don't play shooters, you're not a real gamer.
Oh my God, yeah, I love that attitude.
But I've been back on the Division, and I'm probably going to play some Rainbow Six later. So measuring who's a gamer based on what you played, not always a good look.
Nope.
But I get very annoyed with that, because Call of Duty has always been one of those. But if we get more brown people and queer people, then what about Call of Duty? What about Halo? And it's like, you say this like a Call of Duty doesn't come out every fucking year. You know, you're going to get your Call of Duty. You're going to get whatever shooting game you want. But, oh my God, how dare you want other folks?
Well, do you remember how people freaked out? Which Call of Duty was it when people freaked out that you could play as a female on multiplayer? Which one was that?
Was it
Ghosts, maybe?
Was it Ghost?
I think it was
Recon.
Ghost.
Was it
Yes,
Ghost? Because
yeah.
people are like, women aren't in combat. Like that.
Yeah,
That's
and I
not
remember,
realistic.
These weird, like faux white knight dudes who were just like, I don't want to shoot women.
Yeah.
Like, it was like the weirdest. Like the weirdest take, I think, was like, yeah, me wanting more women in games means I want to shoot women. Yeah, no, it was a strange
Hold
take.
on. Wait, so y'all are fine with beating up prostitutes, shooting
Yeah.
brown people, all this other shit you do in games, but women soldiers are a bridge too fucking far? Are we for real?
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was
All right.
I remember that, and I remember somebody on Twitter, they were like it's not realistic. I'm like, it's Call of Duty fucking Ghosts. Like, are you serious? Are you
The last
serious?
game had an RC car that blew.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ, you're talking about
Yeah.
using fucking exosuits. Like, I don't. So
The funny part, I mean, we're moving into the Call of Duty reveal, right? Like,
Yes,
the funniest part
yes.
was that they actually brought out the words authentic military combat. Or
Yeah.
in the Black Ops 4 reveal today. Like, there is no. They've just completely given up on any, like, even, like, faux appearance of.
And like
authenticity.
that's fine. Just don't
That's
tell me you're
fine.
trying to be authentic, right?
This
Like,
was a reveal where they had, like, fucking Roman gladiator zombies or, like, some fucking shit.
Right,
What was that?
So this is a quote right here. Jeff, who is not on the show tonight, but he's Jeff, we miss you, buddy. He tweeted this out, and this was a quote. This is a quote from a press release for Call of Duty Black Ops 4 today. Now, before I read this, I am somebody who served in the military. I have been on, let's just say, various operations, and there are pictures of me with a black balaclava on my face. So I've seen the shit, right? Like, I've been there. This is a quote about Black Ops. Black Ops from, it says, played solo or with teams. I can't even read. Players will engage in combat complete with air, ground, and water vehicles in a mode that's all about Black Ops and unlike anything else.
whatever Black Ops is,
I mean,
it's a really loose term.
And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like,
Yeah.
okay, okay, explain that to me, because I've done this stuff, and none of this is about, like, for one in the military, we don't call it Black Ops. Like, nobody comes into the barracks and like, yo, John, we're doing some Black Ops, man. Let's go. Let's get ready for the Black Ops. And like nobody like we're not sitting at the fucking chow hall at Bagram, Afghanistan, and nobody walks the door and they're, yo, hey, Marines, let's go. We get the Black Ops going in 10 seconds. Like it doesn't happen like that. So when you say air, ground, and but I will say this, Black Ops sounds like it should be fucking shady, right? So when you're talking about air, ground, and water vehicles in a mode that's all about Black Ops, that doesn't make any fucking sense to me, because that's the opposite of what shady and stealthy should be. And then it says, unlike anything else. Dude, it's fucking Call of Duty. It's Call of Duty, bro. Like there's a billion other fucking shooters just like it. I just press releases like in the big scheme of things, it's not that important, but press releases like this are a bridge too far for me. Like
Well, and
go ahead, Zach.
I just mean that, like, look, like, especially when you send something to, like, you can put that on your website and your fans will that shit up, but like to me when I read that, and I'm a lot less pressed than a lot of folks are, but like to me when I read that, I'd say, like, but what is Black Ops? Like, if you want me to write about your game and you want me to write about your reveal, you need to give me something a little bit more concrete than land, sea, and air Black Ops.
Dude,
like, that doesn't mean anything. I can't turn that into sentences on pages. Like, that doesn't mean anything.
It's all
So you're telling me you cannot write a paragraph about the zombies on the Titanic?
I can write like one sentence on it. Yeah.
It's all about the Black Ops, Zach. So let's talk about the
Black
meat and potatoes of the game.
Ops.
So,
I'm sure that's the name of the fraternity that Cliffy B was in college.
Wow, shade, all the shade.
Wow.
Well,
all right, well, guys, this has been episode 113 of SDGC. So, Tanya, I'm
Cliffy
sorry.
B, I will be at E3 this year, so
You
come see
will.
me.
Hell yeah, you will. No, Tanya, this is great because I'll dump on Call of Duty all day. So let's talk about the game modes. So no campaign, right? And that had been the rumor. That had been the rumor for a long time. And what interested me about this was there was a lot of people online, people I know, saying, "Oh, well, fuck this, I'm not going to buy Call of Duty because there's no campaign." And I'm like, who buys Call of Duty for the campaign? Like, I don't.
Data says like nobody.
I mean, nobody, right? Like
Or statistically nobody.
Well, and somebody. So I saw somebody on Twitter today, and I'm not going to give any Twitter handles, but I saw somebody on Twitter today say, man, I was really looking for a deep campaign, and now I'm not going to get that. I'm like, bro, like, you're talking about Call of Duty. I mean, this is there's nothing deep about this.
This isn't a BioWare joint. Like,
yeah, this isn't fucking BioShock. This isn't
Yeah.
BioShock Call of Duty. Like this,
Yeah.
it's you see what you get, and you're gonna get a celebrity villain. You're gonna get a celebrity villain, and I'm sure he'll show up in cutscenes in the battle royale. But that's the other thing, though, is the battle royale mode. Did you guys know? I don't know if you saw this or not, but they were asked how many people or how many players are present in battle royale, and they would not give an answer. They said, "Well, we're not going to talk about that right now." So I guarantee you, right now, it's not going to be 100.
If it was 100, they would say 100.
Yep,
right now.
it's not going to be 100. I'm thinking probably 50, 25 on each
50.
side.
My
oh
first
god,
thought
that's
was
too many
50.
people.
My first thought was 50.
Yeah,
But that's fine. I mean, it's gonna be, it'll be a smaller map. I also has land. Sea,
dude, they said the maps are going to be huge.
Remember they said 1,000 times in town with maps.
But
So,
what
like,
does that
They
mean?
said bigger
Like,
than any map they've ever made, but like they didn't compare it to other VR games.
I don't know.
Can I go back to the campaign thing really quick?
Yeah, go ahead. Man.
Isn't the Modern Warfare 2 remaster supposed to be coming out this year and it's only campaign?
supposedly this summer, yeah.
Yeah.
Down the street.
Yeah, so
Alright.
I don't know, man. Like, you can get your solo campaign in Modern Warfare 2, and then if you need your multiplayer, you can jump on Black Ops 4. By the way, I'm just going to call it Black Ops 4, like the number 4 on Twitter. I refuse to type out 4 capital I's on Twitter. I'm not going to do that.
As someone who has the Roman numeral 4 like in my name, legal name, it's very disrespectful to my name.
To type out 4
to
capital
my
I's.
image,
like,
yeah, and to my brand.
That it's
Your brand.
Your brand.
Activision is killing my brand here.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, here's the thing about Call of Duty, right? Like, it doesn't matter that it doesn't have a campaign or not. Like, it's going to sell a bajillion fucking copies, and it'll be the number one selling game of the year. But I can't help but think that, because I'm with Tanya, right? Like I used to really like Call of Duty back in the day when you had like
It was absolutely one of my favorite franchises from probably 2003 to 2010.
that was so like Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I played that when I was in the Marine Corps, right? And I was like, holy shit, this is great. You know, like they really like all the terminology is there. You know, like it's really cool.
I
And
mean,
then
like it felt ripped out of the headlines, right?
it
Like,
did, yeah.
It felt culturally relevant.
Well, it was relevant because we were in the middle of a war. You know,
Yeah.
like we were in Iraq and we were, Afghanistan was.
It was about something.
It was,
even if it was, like not. It was still Call of Duty, right? It wasn't
exactly.
hard in the paint,
Yeah.
But
yeah, precisely.
Attempts were made at being like culturally relevant. Now Black Ops is just
Well,
it's its own thing.
so
Treyarch
I
has
can't-
always done their own thing.
So
which is fine.
I can't help but wonder, and I'll throw this question to Tanya first, and then I want everybody else to chime in, but I can't help but think that Call of Duty can be it can be something really cool again, but I feel like they need to pull a Ubisoft and give this series a year off and
Yep.
come up with something new. You know what I mean, Tanya? Like I don't know, what do you think about that? Do you think that this is a series that is beyond that's just as far as becoming something interesting and tonally relevant again? Like do you think that's possible for Call of Duty?
I think if they took a year, maybe a year and a half off, and actually did something where you have to consider the cost of what you're doing, because these games are all about shooting. Your character doesn't have remorse. You don't have any, and granted, that may not fit for Call of Duty because I don't want anyone yelling at me about that. But you have all these games. Your objective is just to kill, and there's nothing. There's no like even response to the soldier, because I've never held a gun. I'm actually terrified of guns. But if you have to kill someone, even in a wartime situation, at some point I'm sure it comes back to you, and there's no kind of other side of it. You don't get to really kind of see what happens after your campaign is done. That's why I like stuff like Spec Ops: The Line, this War of Mine, because it gives you that other side. It humanizes the people that are also being affected. So I think it would really benefit from a revamp, a deeper campaign, and also just better diversity, because I haven't played a lot of it recently, but I don't know if you get to play like as a person of color, as a woman.
I don't think you've ever been able to play as anything but a white man in Call of Duty.
I think they had I think this was Black Ops 3, they had a character creator, but it was different shades of white people. And I think there maybe was like one Asian head, one Asian man and one Asian woman. But like, the diversity was like not there. But there was like 3 white faces, but yeah, no.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and John and I have had these conversations before of, there's also something about if you are forcing me into the role of a character that is not me, which shock I've had to do the entire time I've played video games. I have to reconcile that with being digitally a white dude and shooting all these brown people or whoever it is that I'm going up against. And the series, you can, if we must have a war game, can we not have it be something where you're basically a white dude slaughtering brown people all the time?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and what's interesting to me about that, Tanya, is that this is one of the reasons I was really excited for Battlefield 1, right? Because I'm a student of history, and I was a war fighter, and I follow military history, and one of the greatest untold stories from World War I was, of course, the Harlem Hellfighters, the first major African American fighting unit for the U.S. military, and they fought incredibly bravely in World War I, and so a lot of stories about them. And so when a member of the Harlem Hellfighters was used for the marketing in Battlefield 1, I was like, oh great, like this is a story that's going to be told. This is fantastic. I've mentioned it on this podcast before, and then they were relegated to the tutorial. And when you fire up Battlefield 1, it is literally, so you're playing as members of the Harlem Hellfighters during the tutorial, but you just keep dying, and then when you die, you were just kind of transported into the body of another member of the Harlem Hellfighters who dies, and then it just keeps happening over and over and over. That's the first 5 minutes. Zach knows what I'm talking about. That's the first 5 minutes of the game, and then that's it. Like, and then you play as like a British fighter ace and stuff like that. So that to me was again just like another instance of kind of letting. I don't know. It was disappointing, and I don't see this changing with Call of Duty in the future, unfortunately. Not until people Not until people like Tanya or her, and not until it's sad that we have to kind of have this conversation continually, even in 2018. But yeah, it's just
I feel like Activision knows their target audience, and I
Mhm.
don't think they're going to change. I mean,
Probably
like, it
not,
sucks to
no.
say that, but like, these games sell a shit ton of copies every year. Like,
There are some. Activision makes very small steps. I own Call of Duty World War II. It's been a minute since I looked, but I remember when the game came out, they included different flag banners to go with your profile. And I remember they had a gay pride flag, transgender pride flag.
oh, I'm sure people were. I'm sure people were just.
I mean,
so
there
pissed
were
off
like
about
there
that.
was some meaningful inclusion in some of the banner icons, but it was like, again, very surface level in that, like, you can let somebody feel like they're being representative in like their profile icon, but like there isn't a lot otherwise going on. And it is kind of what you're saying, John, with Battlefield 1, where like it just doesn't feel like meaningful inclusion, and it just feels like they're just trying to get I mean, like, I don't know, like the Harlem Hellfighters was like an interesting thing that Battlefield 1 was using in marketing. It's like, we're gonna tell untold stories, and they kind of touched on how we're gonna include
Yeah, and then they used
so-
and then it was the fucking tutorial. Yeah,
it was the tutorial, right? And yeah, I mean, it's just frustrating. I mean, like, there are other things about this Call of Duty that were at least interesting. Like, I think Black Ops doing the battle royale thing is kind of interesting. They didn't show anything from it. All they said is like, it's
Yeah.
a big map and there's gonna be iconic characters that fans will remember. But like, that's not really a meaningful reveal to me.
Because it's just not ready to show yet, and
Yeah.
you know, it's probably going to be jank as hell, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't see, especially on console, I just don't see that running well. Like a battle royale, even with just 50 players, I don't see that running well on console if it's a first person shooter, and because it's Call of Duty, so you know they're going to pump millions of dollars into the visuals, and I think it's going to run like a bowl of oatmeal on
I think they'll get it.
console. I don't know. Hopefully they will. I mean, I don't want any game to sell bad, right? Because every dollar that's put into the industry is a dollar that's good for all of us. But I mean, I think everybody here makes some really good points. About not just diversity in Call of Duty, but also the just kind of the state of the game. Like, I don't like Tanya, for example. Like, you mentioned kind of digging into those deeper aspects of warfare, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever hear of? And we've had this conversation before on the podcast. Did you ever hear of 6 Days in Fallujah?
I've heard of it through a GDC talk I was at. I have not played it.
So 6 Days of Fallujah was a game that it was in development. It never came out, but it was going to be set in Iraq during the Iraq War. It was going to be a third-person shooter, like, over the shoulder, but it was going to be a psychological horror game set in Fallujah, and it was going to focus on not just the act of killing in war, but what it does to you mentally.
Mm-hmm.
And because I've been to war, Brandon's been to war. The act of killing somebody is incredibly psychologically traumatic. And I think we just lost Jay. It's incredibly
He's ready to
psychological.
go.
Or even,
he did?
even the
Okay.
act of preparing to kill people.
Yes, it can
like,
be.
like you argue about whether it's training is brainwashing or whatever, but like they can. I mean, the entire point of being in the Marine Corps is to be conditioned to
Yep.
kill people without remorse, or not without thought, but without remorse, without hesitation.
And so that was that game that I was hoping would actually touch on those aspects of warfare that I don't feel like gaming has ever really been able to capture. And they got combat veterans and people with PTSD to come and consult in the game, and of course it got canceled because
Too soon.
there was
It
too
was
soon,
basically the too soon argument.
which I don't agree with. I'm like, no, I fucking want this game. Like, I want people to know what it's actually like. I want gamers to know that hey, Call of Duty does not represent warfare. That this is not an accurate depiction of what it's actually like in fucking combat. But I didn't get what I want, so But so here's the deal, guys. It's 10 o'clock. We did have another rage topic, but Tanya has got to go. I want to give Tanya some time to breathe before she prepares for Spawn on Me later tonight. So we can touch on Rage 2 next week. I'll give some quick sign-off notes real quick. Don't forget, guys, not only will we be at E3 this year, but Tanya will be at E3 this year as well.
Yep.
And Tanya, where can people find you on Twitter if they want to follow you? And I highly recommend that they should.
You can follow me at Cyphertier. That is CYPHEROFTYR, just like my Twitch name that is in the chat. Basically, that's me everywhere on the internet except for Final Fantasy 14, because Square doesn't let you change your username even for money. So that is an embarrassingly
That's
old
crazy.
name.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I was just like, ooh, that's embarrassing, but I can't change it even if I give them money. So, but Cypher Tears is me everywhere for personal stuff. I talk about games, I talk about race. This is kind of stuff I brought up tonight. If you want to follow what I do with I Need Diverse Games, that is INDG. It is I Need DIVGMS on Twitter. I Need Diverse Games Net is our store. We also have a Twitch channel, which is just INDG. We've actually got people streaming there Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. And what else? I'll be at E3. Book is coming out, and oh yeah, I'm doing a D&D podcast or D&D game starting in June on the Twitch D&D channel.
Oh, that is fantastic.
Awesome.
I just got my Dark Souls board game today, and I'm so happy.
Ooh, nice.
I'm so happy. Oh my god, I'm so excited to play it this weekend. We're gonna have a big board game night. It's gonna be fucking great. No, I would highly recommend everybody go and check out the very good work that Tanya does. You're a fantastic person, and it was an absolute joy having you on the podcast tonight, Tanya.
All right, thank you. It was so awesome to hang out.
Of course. And okay. So we'll go ahead and we'll cut it off there. We got some big guests coming up, guys. Mike Huber is going to be on the week after from Easy Allies. He'll be back on for the fourth time the week after
Hubes.
E3. The Hubes is going to be back on. He'll be back on to give some post E3 rundown stuff. We've got a cool surprise in store for people who like Easy Allies at E3, but I'm going to keep that in my back pocket for now. Just let that roll around in your heads. And E3 is approaching quickly, so not only will Jay and Zach and Finn be at E3, but we will be streaming it here with our friend Wout, who is at the #Hashtagginist on Twitter. Good friend of the show, good friend of mine. So please look forward to that. And we got some more big guests coming up. We got the developer of Code Vein coming up. We've got Nick Chester will be coming up in the future. A lot of cool stuff happening. So anyway, guys, this has been episode 113 of SDGC. As always, it's not always poetry, and we don't always agree, but we always keep it real. So until next week, please be good to each other. We'll see you later.
Bye.